Now let's dive into a little bit of why, when we talk about the flinch and we dive into this book by Julien Smith, why exactly do we flinch? What is causing us to be apprehensive towards things that are scary, things that are foreign, things that are new? It boils down a lot to the base nature of what we began as a human species. If you are someone who's wondering, why when I try to go take a cold shower, do I quite literally flinch? Do I kind of seize up almost and not want to go into it? Believe it or not, it's kind of your subconscious human mind from a time before civilization where there were constant things that made you fearful for your life. So, for example, in previous times, you tried something new. There wasn't exactly a whole lot of new in our earlier state of civilization. And when those new things would come, they generally would come with more of a risk than what we picture now. So going and trying to find a new job, going and trying to build a new habit, going and trying to do something that's hard, psychologically it treats us the exact same way as if we would encounter a bear in the wild. And as much as that sounds like it's not how we are, it is that same fight or flight that we're experiencing, because we haven't exactly psychologically changed a whole lot since we've become civilized human beings. And it's not any fault of our own that we're just wired to act this way, because, when something new were to happen, generally speaking, it was a risky thing that was happening because we kind of lived, I don't want to say like boring lives, but we had sort of the same consistent routine and everything so that we could survive, because we were more about survival than, now we're trying to thrive. I'm making videos on the internet. The things that can be done now are inconceivable to where the state of our mind was when we came to be human beings and how we've been conditioned for a longer period of time. Think about this conceptually. For the past, 60 years, I want to say, 70 maybe, the idea, let's say like 20, 30 years post Great Depression, the idea of people in the United States going hungry or being without shelter, besides at the lowest levels of poverty. You don't experience hunger as much in this country, and you don't have as many people going through that. But this is kind of a recent phenomenon. You have different government programs that kind of prevent the majority of the population from being in a place that would be even close to as similar as when we were hunters and gatherers, right? So we're talking about a very short period of time where food and housing has been pretty much a guarantee, or are guarantees for just even people in the country I live in. And that means that we've psychologically not been at the place where we can say, okay, let's try to do something different outside of what I'm doing and not be spooked out by it like people may think that they shouldn't be. Like, why am I freaking out so much about something that seems so trivial, something that seems so small? It's because at a base level, we haven't had that much time to acclimate to the new way of life. Just because we in this generation didn't experience all that hunger and all that suffering and all that sort of not knowing where the next meal was going to come from, not knowing whether we were safe. We have safety as a species as a whole in comparison to the wild, but yet understand that kind of psychology doesn't exactly go away because your generation wasn't born with that stuff, because we are a species that is still the same and hasn't really evolved or anything. So we're going to keep going into, and I don't want to get into evolution too much, but psychologically speaking, those fight or flight responses trigger even with something as small as I want to build a new habit, when I wanted to start my YouTube channel, I flinched for a while. I didn't start the channel for like 2 months after I was like writing my blog. And it was like, man, I just need to do this. I just need to do this. What am I flinching for? Because I was afraid. And it's like, okay, Dimitri, what are you afraid of? And I had done it before. I'm someone who has made videos in the past, and I was still flinching about it. So that makes me think, like, for someone who has even dealt with that sort of grind of making the videos and having the online, not persona, but having the online presence of people commenting on your videos and giving you feedback and maybe even negative feedback, psychologically speaking, fight or flight, I had to push through something. I had to push through a flinch that even I had survived through before. Because psychologically speaking, when you're trying new endeavors, you're trying endeavors that put you out of your comfort zone, you're subconsciously kind of going back to that state of, could this kill me? And like you're going into a cold shower, and believe it or not, your mind's like, that doesn't feel good. Things that don't feel good equal increased chance of not being around, because we were just kind of, that's how we got through being alive. And that's how we got through getting to the point where we are now, where I can make videos on the internet and put them out whenever I feel like it. So just remember that whenever you're thinking negatively about the fact that you're flinching through something, remind yourself, it's like that psychologically, you are holding yourself back, not personally, but just the makeup of you as a human is what's holding yourself back. And when you can convince yourself of that fact, you will, one, treat yourself better about why you're being like this, but two, you can tell yourself basically, okay, so this isn't going to kill me. The only reason I'm being apprehensive towards this is because my body is literally telling me this will kill me, or not literally kill me, but it's not going to help you get to the next stage of your life in the same way, because you don't feel things that are good. Psychologically, your body goes, okay, I need to flinch against this. Are you sure you want to do this? Not feeling great, doing something that's hard equals less likely chance of survival, equals, that sort of response that warrants what it warrants. And if you're subconsciously thinking that it's going to decrease your amount of survival, decrease your quality of life, obviously you're going to flinch against it. But if you can remember that that's just your psychology working against you, you can be like, okay, is looking for a new job actually going to kill me? No, like quite literally, no. Just if you want to see this episode or any other episode of the Rise Productive podcast, make sure to go and check the show out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else that you can find podcasts today.